Good evening, friends, and welcome back to the Castro News live show. We are here rolling in with episode 57, and I think I say this every time after we reached a dozen. It totally blows my mind how many of these episodes we've done and how great you guys have made this endeavor. Um, let's jump into the roll call because we got folks saying hello, and I want to say good evening to Kimberly and good evening to Elda. And I want to give a special thanks to Elda because she sent in a topic idea that we'll be discussing during the show. And good evening to John. Good evening to Catherine. And a special good evening to Bob. And good evening to Eunice, and good evening to Laura. Laura is in the house. If you guys want to get a shout out, we do this show every week, every Tuesday at 7 p.m., and we start the show off with a roll call to give a shout out to the listeners who are out there. And if you're not familiar with the show, we've kind of modeled this after an old school radio show, kind of a call-in talk show. So if you're seeing a blank screen, that is totally intentional because we're doing audio only. I can do this very briefly. Hello. Now you can see me. Now you don't. We just do the audio because the video, frankly, will distract from the conversation. So good evening, Leon. Uh, Leon used to live in Castro Valley and now lives in Tracy. I'm just trying to discern if your name is Sharon or Leon, but Leon Sharon is in the house. Good evening to you from Castro Valley, your hometown, to Tracy. Used to live in Castro Valley and you miss it, and we miss you as well. So, if there's anyone else who wants a shout out, definitely post up and we will say good evening to you. And I kind of wanted to. Bob is reporting from the sports desk. Houston Astros 2, Oakland A's 1, bottom of the first. Mary de Los Angeles, I can't. Can we talk about thefts happening in Castro Valley? So, Mary, if you have a specific incident that you'd like to discuss, definitely mention it. I'm personally, I haven't heard of thefts happening in Castro Valley, but definitely please post up in the comments any specific incidents that you would like for us to discuss. And going back, it is Sharon, not Leon. So good evening, Sharon from Tracy. Wanted to correct myself there and get your shout out right. So welcome to the show, and shout out again to Sharon and Tracy, and a wonderful good evening to Dennis. Dennis is on. Dennis is a frequent listener, and Dennis supports us numerous times by pledging. So we have a pledge page. If you're not familiar with that, I don't want to. I don't want to go into the. I don't want to start begging for money. But if you feel inclined and you like what we do here at Castro Valley News, we are a business. We have bills to pay. We have dogs to feed. So if you would like to support us in a monetary means, you are more than welcome to make a donation of any amount. We will post up the link for you to do that if you'd like to make a donation. If you don't, that's fine too. We still love you. So there it is. You can support hyper local, independent, and of the moment news. The link is in the comment thread. If you would like to support us, we would appreciate it. Any amount, any support. And if you don't want to give us a couple bucks, post up a comment. Any thanks and appreciation is appreciated. Yes. So Mary is addressing someone posted a little boy's bike was stolen from back of their truck. We posted that overnight, I believe so, and uh, it was a rather unique and probably expensive bicycle stolen from the back of a truck on Anita. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was secured to the truck. And I don't want to get into victim blaming here because we all have our right to a sense of security. But with that said, a lot of crimes are crimes of opportunity. So if you are going to, it's best to think ahead of the curve and not give criminals that opportunity. And there you go, Mary. I guess great minds are thinking alike. Mary says maybe remind people not to leave valuables in sight. Uh, perfect, perfect point. If you're going to park your car anywhere in a parking lot, do not leave valuables in your car. It's probably best to not put them in you can put them in your trunk, but someone may be watching you putting them in your trunk, so that could be a problem as well. But like I said, and also in numerous conversations that we've had with Sergeant Ray Kelly of the Alameda County Sheriff's Office, when we've talked about crime, he mentioned that a lot of times these thefts are really crimes of opportunity. So if you do not give criminals or thieves, scofflaws, I hate, there's your $2 word for tonight, scofflaws, thieves, if you don't give them the opportunity, hopefully you will not become a victim. But thank you, Mary, or Mari, for bringing up that topic. And it is super sad that a young child had his prized bicycle stolen from the back of a truck. I believe that was on Anita. But we have a picture of that bicycle posted on the page. If you have information on that, please call the sheriff's office, 510-667-7721. I'll give you that one more time, 510-667-7721. Let's get that bike back to the little boy, please. John is mentioning, and good evening, John. I know I got you in the roll call, but I wanted to say good evening to you again. We've talked on the phone, and John is a gentleman who cares about our community, so I want to acknowledge that, and I want to tip my cap to John. John is mentioning he went to the food trucks on Friday and he liked it. So if you go to the food truck event, it's in the parking lot of First Presbyterian Church. That's the church behind Trader Joe's on Redwood. They are doing a fundraiser for the Chabot Theater, which some really good and cool and awesome things are happening behind the scenes at the Chabot Theater. And I'm working on getting some information for you guys for when they do plan on reopening. And I think things at the theater are going to be improved, awesome, and I think a lot of people are going to be impressed with some of the changes that have happened or are happening at the Chabot Theater. I need to excuse myself for one moment here. We're live, so I have something I really need to do, but just give me 1 second. And thank you for your patience. Let me go back to the roll call if there's anyone else. Roger is wondering what are the topics or news for tonight. And Roger, you're just going to have to strap in for the ride here and see what we'll be talking about. So if there's and good evening to you, Roger. Thank you for listening to me prattle on about things happening in town. So I don't see anybody else that's commented for the roll call. One more time, if you'd like a shout out, definitely post up a comment and we'll give you we'll say good evening to you live on air. And yes, we have our moderator has posted up the word of the night, scofflaw, which is someone who does not follow rules and regulations. And I wanted to ask Bob what he thinks about the A's potentially moving, because that's, um, I guess, one of the things that we can add to the list is the potential of the A's moving. Um, that's just going to be a heartbreaker for a lot of people. If it happens, I'm hoping it doesn't. As a child, I grew up going to A's games and had a lot of fun watching players like Ricky Henderson and Dwayne Murphy and Tony Armas, Mike Heath, Dave Stewart, particularly Ricky Henderson. I know I've completely gushed about Ricky Henderson in previous shows because Ricky Henderson has and is seen in Castro Valley a lot, and it's really exciting to see a childhood hero in your hometown. With that said, it looks like well, Bob is saying that the A's are as good as gone, unfortunately, and I hope that doesn't happen because the A's are so much a part of the Bay Area and obviously Oakland. It's just I don't want to think about losing the A's. So let me I'm going to cross off the roll call from the list unless there's anybody else who wants a shout out. Speaking of shout outs, let's give a hearty roar of appreciation to tonight's sponsor. And that is Forester.org. That is Forestr.org. They are a local nonprofit with the mission to reforest urban communities. And you can learn more at their website at Forester.org. That's Forestr.org. And they do more than just reforest urban communities. These people are at the side of the road, at freeway on and off ramps in Castro Valley, picking up trash just about every Saturday, weather permitting. And I know I've gone through this story every week, and I'll go through it again. I went and hung out with the folks at Forester one Saturday as they were picking up trash near one of the freeway exchanges near Burger Island, and I got the bug. I got their passion rubbed off on me in regards to beautifying my neighborhood, and it's actually something that I do every day. I go out and I dedicate a little block of time to pick up trash in the neighborhood where my office is, where my office is, and you know, it just feels good. It's not gonna ever stop people from throwing trash and all of the garbage accumulating around town, but in certain areas where it looks nice and there's less trash, I think I mentioned this every show. There's a broken window theory that if you see a broken window at a location, you're more inclined to add more blight to that area. Could be true, it might not be true, but for me, it makes me feel good to do something to improve and beautify the area, my immediate area here. So if you have time, give it a shot. If not, that's okay too. I'm not trying to twist anyone's arm or try to persuade anyone to do anything. But I will tell you this: it to me, for me, it is satisfying to make the little corner of my neighborhood look better. So with that said, Forester.org, Forestr.org, if you would like to learn more about what they do, if you'd like to volunteer. They are a nonprofit, so what they are doing is not for profit. It's a labor of love for those guys, and they're great folks. Catherine is asking, do I know exactly what the plans are for the corner of Wilbeam and Castro Valley? And I'm assuming you are mentioning, or you're referring to, the thing that we posted today, which is, to answer your question, Catherine, I don't know what businesses that they're looking for. But to get the topic completely on track, next Monday, May 24, the gentleman who also purchased the former Daughtry building, who helped renovate and make the marketplace happen, they there were some other investors purchased a couple of buildings at the corner of Wilbeam and Castro Valley Boulevard. Uh, to give you a point of reference, Sal's auto mechanic shop was there. There was a smoke shop there. There's also a cleaners at the corner that's still there. So next Monday, May 24th, 6 p.m., the new owner of that building has a site development review that the Castro Valley Municipal Advisory Council will review. And it's an action item, so it's looking to be either approved or not approved. I'm sorry, recommended or not, because the MAC are advisory only. But there's some interesting plans on the table for what that corner may look like going forward. And I will ask our lovely, intelligent, wise and learned moderator to find that post or at least a screen capture of the what could happen at that corner. It looks pretty classy. It still basically kind of looks the same in essence, but with that said, I think a lot of Castro Valley Boulevard can definitely use some sort of revitalization and improvement. The marketplace is definitely a significant improvement upon what it looked like before. It was, as we all know, or most of us know, it was just this big, empty white building at the center of our downtown. So apparently, the gentleman who is responsible for the revitalization at the Daughtry building has taken a liking to our downtown area. And this project is just a few doors down from the marketplace. So any improvements that could come to our downtown area would be great. I think it's unfortunate that some of the tenants there have, I believe, been evicted. And I can't I can't use kid gloves on that, and I can't tiptoe around the subject. But I did speak to some of the merchants that were there, and they were asked to leave. And excuse me for clearing my throat right in your ears. That's not polite. But with that said, so if you are interested in learning more and hearing the conversation and providing feedback on this proposal, like I said, we have the rough the preliminary plans for what the exterior will look like. That's all posted up on the page. There's also a link to the whole application on the page if you want to check that out as well. There's a lot of information in there. There's also a link to the actual Zoom meeting that the MAC will have on May 24. That's a Monday. And like I said, it's online. It's a Zoom meeting, starts at 6 p.m. Definitely get dialed in with things that are happening in the community and significant things like this. You could do nothing but benefit from watching or attending a MAC meeting to see how things happen and don't happen in our community. If you're not familiar with who the MAC are, they are a 7-person council appointed by our supervisor, Nate Miley. Supervisor Nate Miley is one of I think one of a few Alameda County supervisors that represent all of Alameda County. So Supervisor Miley represents Castro Valley, Ashland, Cherryland, Fairview, parts of Oakland, I think parts of Pleasanton as well. And did I say parts of Oakland? Parts of Oakland, and I'm probably forgetting another area that he represents. But the CVMAC are a board that reviews land use issues and sometimes quality of life and fire and police and sheriff and CHP issues. They're advisory only. Their decisions, their votes are not binding. So, but they are essentially the first level of local governance that we have here in Castro Valley. And we are not a city, we're not a town. We are part of unincorporated Alameda County, so we are governed by the Board of Supervisors. And with the MAC being appointed by Supervisor Nate Miley, like I said, they are that first level of local governance that we have here. You can find out more information by Googling Castro Valley Municipal Advisory Council. You can check out their schedule. You can look at all of the agendas. You could actually access information on the members. They are all Castro Valley residents, Castro Valley business owners. There's also email addresses, contact information for Alameda County, for the MAC members. So that would be a great way for you to get more dialed in to what's happening in our town. With that said, let me cross off some of the things on the list here. That's that too. Let's touch base on what is happening at the former library building on Redwood Road. And let me give you some backstory here. I used to work at that library building, and just thinking and talking about that building makes me warm and fuzzy. I love that building. I have a lot of good memories working that building. I know the community has a ton of really good memories of being library patrons, visiting the library weekly. It's looking like what's happening is that, unfortunately, I think that building is going to be demolished, and that's really sad for me. But everything in life has an expiration date, unfortunately. So what's happening now is the county received a report from a Berkeley-based company to assess options regarding the potential development or future use of that building on Redwood Road. And for a long time now, our local veterans have really been lobbying and working to have some sort of veterans hall or a veterans library or a veterans community center at that building. And to their credit, they amassed, I don't know, is amassed another $2 word? The veterans have a lot of signatures from the community in support of them and their vision for that building. And unfortunately, I believe it was a year ago, that plan went before the Board of Supervisors, and it didn't have enough votes for that to happen, for that specific use, for that building to continue to exist with the veterans using it in some fashion. However, the plan going forward, I shouldn't say the plan going forward, but the information that was released recently was that this company in Berkeley, they did an assessment on the building and the future potential uses, and it's looking like this independent company, their findings indicated that that parcel is a good candidate for affordable veterans housing in addition to a veterans services building, which is good because the veterans did a lot of footwork and really did a lot of outreach into the community, garnering support for them to have that building as a resources center, or like I said, a veterans library or a veterans community center. So at the very least, the future of that land will be for veterans, which is good news. On the other side of the coin, these plans include, like I said, the demolition of the existing building and the construction of 3 buildings ranging from 3 to 6 stories in height that could include 28, 36, or 52 total units for, I believe, low-income veterans or homeless veterans. And a lot of this is all just preliminary here. So you can expect this to go before the CDMAC, and I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of discussion about what may or may not happen. Um, 6 stories is a huge building for Redwood Road, particularly in that area. There is nothing at all that height. I don't think 6 stories is frankly 6 stories. A 6-story building at that location, I really do not think is going to fly there. There would probably be extreme pushback from the community. However, this is all, in the very early stages, so definitely things can change. But I wanted to let you guys know about that in case you missed it. We posted something, was yesterday that we posted about that. And again, if you want to go onto the page, the entire memorandum and feasibility, every page of this feasibility plan, and I think there's 20 of them. We shared all 20 of those. So if you did not see them, definitely check out the page. That information is there for your perusal and review. Please definitely get dialed in with things that are happening in town. Otherwise, things are going to happen and you will miss your opportunity to have your right to public comment and to express whether you like something or whether you don't like something. So definitely get dialed into what's happening here. We try to get as much information on what's happening in town to you guys. Frankly, there are things that I don't see, that we don't see. So if you see something that you think is significant, definitely send me a message. Send us a message through the page. And yeah, definitely, we are all better when more folks are engaged and participating in the conversation of the future of Castro Valley. So you can definitely look forward to some likely long meetings on this topic. There's another component to that building that Castro Valley actually paid for that building. There was a parcel tax, I think. Trying to recall what year it was. I think it was in the 50s. But it was a parcel tax that Castro Valley paid for to construct the building. So the building belongs to Castro Valley. The property that it is on belongs to Alameda County. Because from what I understand, from what a resident told me, that the parcel, I believe, was acquired for pennies on the dollar, and I remember hearing something about eminent domain, but I'm not sure if it was that. But county-owned property, Castro Valley-owned building. So, and full disclosure, I have skin in the game here because I love that building. I'm not going to advocate on either side, but I am definitely going to confess again. I love that building. I love that building. It's a great building. It's got a lot of charm. It is not as dilapidated as you might think, or some people might think. It's a good building, but I am not calling the shots on that. I would love to see that building be retained and have the veterans be able to use it in some way. But from what it sounds like, the building may not stay, but new buildings intended for veterans use that will benefit veterans may be on the way, and that's a win. So, with that said, cross that off. Yeah, I crossed that off. And I want to thank Elda again, because Elda brought up a topic that she wanted us to kind of conversate about, and that is the explosions and fireworks happening almost nightly. And I hear them here. I'm over by Three Cross Church. I hear the explosions every night, just about. And I think, unfortunately, it's kind of the norm because we're getting close to the 4th of July. So I think we are, that's what, it's just going to happen. Um, sorry, I'm looking through. Oh, good evening, Denise. I missed Denise in the roll call. So Denise is also asking, is the VA going to contribute? From what I understand with that building, I think they're going to be looking for some sort of outside agency that would handle a lot of the veterans use situation. Like I wish I had a point of reference to give you, but I think there's going to be a nonprofit that may step in and help with a lot of that. But I believe the construction, like I said, I really can't speak on that because we're so early in the game with how that will be paid for. I'm not certain if the county is interested in ponying up any money for that. It could be in their budget, but I'm assuming from what I've heard from earlier conversations that there would probably be an outside nonprofit that specializes in veterans, homeless veterans, and veterans outreach would step in and do that in a way. But like I said, we'll see in the future when the meetings are going to happen. We'll probably hear that in more detail. And like I said, as I'll bring you guys as much information on that as possible because I will be following that. Like I said, Dennis says he remembers using the very first Xerox copier in that library. Yeah, that building's just I got a soft spot in my heart for that building. But Amy is mentioning in regard to the explosions and the fireworks that are happening. And thank you again, Elda, for bringing that up because I would not have thought to add it to the list, and I really appreciate that. Fire is a real danger. People, this is Amy, is saying fire is a real danger. People need to encounter their neighbors and children, and I think maybe reach out to their neighbors and children to lay off lighting things on fire, especially because we're going into another drought year. So the fire risk is going to be great. Not that it's good. The fire danger is going to be significant this year, and I'm hoping that we do not. Okay, Amy said encourage their neighbors and children to lay off lighting things on fire, and definitely do that. If you have neighbors that you know are lighting stuff on, the fireworks and all that, and if you feel compelled, mention to them, hey, it's not safe. I know a lot of people may not be inclined to broach, may not want to have that sort of conversation with their neighbors because it could be adversarial to some extent. However, definitely if you are Roger brings up a great point with veterans being discussed. Think about them and those with PTSD, especially when you're lighting off those big M80s, M100s, M1000s. Roger's got a great point. People with PTSD, this affects them significantly and profoundly. And also when it comes to pets, these explosions scare the heck out of pets and they go running, and then people lose their pets. So I know people want to party down and want to make noise for the 4th of July. I get that. I totally relate. But these explosions are nuts. They're super, super loud. And if you hear them, if you know a general location where they're happening, definitely call the sheriff's office, 510-667-7721. Let them know. If you're just hearing them in a general area, there's really not much that they can do about it. But fielder's choice. It's up to you whether you want to call or not. But definitely call if you see someone lighting them off. I know it may not be polite to snitch on your neighbors, but if you feel inclined and you see it happening, I will leave that up to you. It does disturb a lot of people. Like I said, people with PTSD, um, and also people with pets. So, with that said, definitely, I think as we our moderator was just giving me a comment that I totally agree with. Um, but yeah, as we get closer to the 4th of July, it's probably just going to get more frequent and louder. And this last 4th of July was crazy. It was the worst I have ever seen in regards to the frequency and loudness of these explosions, these fireworks. Um, Bob is mentioning, not sure about fireworks. The loud ones are clearly illegal. The safe and sane ones brought in from Dublin and Union City will happen on July 4. Many people come to Lawrence Drive and Lamson where you can watch the entire bay erupt. You know what, Bob? You could probably go just about anywhere and see the entire bay erupt on the 4th of July. It's I think probably because of the shelter in place and the pandemic, I think a lot of people had a lot of pent up energy and wanted an outlet, a way to vent, a way to make noise, definitely. And I get that. I totally get that. Um, Hopefully this year there will be some sort of public display of fireworks. I know San Francisco and Oakland, I think they both canceled this year. Hopefully, maybe this year it'll be different in some context. Um, and Catherine is also mentioning the fireworks have started early, and they seem to start earlier every year, and particularly because of the pandemic, the shelter-in-place situation. So I guess to sum up that topic, definitely if you see someone doing these illegal fireworks, you can definitely call the sheriffs, 510-667-7721. And it goes without saying, if you are someone who are setting these things off, it really does affect the quality of life of other people, veterans with PTSD, and people who own pets that go bolting. I mean, I have a dog, and these explosions go off, and he's just beyond frightened. Um, Usually, every 4th of July or New Year's Eve, we sit here and I put on John Wick, one of the John Wick movies, very loud, so that there is enough loud noise inside to compete with what's going on outside, and it usually works. So if you want a referral to help your pets stay a little bit more comfortable inside, put on a John Wick movie. He may not be your cup of tea, but the movie works. With that said, um, last topic that I wanted to bring up tonight, and this is something that John is mentioning that last year was worse, and I totally agree. Last 4th of July was crazy, was nuts. Um, but the last thing I wanted to mention is something that's been on my mind for quite some time, and uh, and again, this is tied in with the pandemic and the shelter in place. The topic of Amazon comes to mind, and it's also tied into the importance of us supporting our local businesses. Our moderator just posted something about the John Wick collection. Thank you for. I saw Keanu Reeves on the thread, and I thought, wow, what a great movie. Um, but I just wanted to bring up some of my feelings about Amazon, and it doesn't. You don't need a laser pointer to see that Amazon is huge and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And particularly with the shelter in place, people were at home. I know convenience is king. I get that. That was a lot of what attracted me as a consumer to Amazon. And I have been a member, a consumer with Amazon for quite a few years now. But the perspective I have now or the thought that is in that is the thought process that has been rolling around in my mind is I don't think I am 99% certain that I can actually live without Amazon and redirect my shopping, my money elsewhere. I've made a, a conscious effort for quite some time now, particularly because of the pandemic and the shelter in place, and because of all the businesses that have been closed, that I shop local as much as I can. But you and I know there are some things that we just can't find local, that Amazon is just that go-to thing that we all go to. um, but there are some things that I've gone to Amazon for, that I can actually purchase directly from the manufacturer for. So I'm doing that now, and there's some nutritional things, there's some, there's things that I wear, there's clothes, there's gloves, some other things. Um, I'm purchasing those things directly from the manufacturer. And I'm only bringing this up because I wanted to share my perspective with you on that, and I wanted to also reinforce and reiterate the importance of shopping local and making sure that the local businesses that we have can continue. And frankly, I think Amazon's big enough already. I don't think they really need to be bigger. But good on them. Good on them, because they've definitely uh, found something that is definitely wanted, needed to some extent, and with the shelter in place and with everyone at home and a lot of the businesses closed, they ended up in a huge bubble that did nothing but um, make them extremely wealthy. But and that's the American way. Every business should be able to do that, and definitely make their money in the way that they do. But for me, I'm not going to um, I'm not going to support that anymore. And it's a decision that I've made. And probably within the next week, I'm going to delete my Amazon account, um, so that I can support the businesses, or the companies that manufacture these things, that I can support them directly and um, not have a middleman going between, which it may not be convenient for you guys. And I know, like I said, convenience is king. When you can get free shipping and you can get that item here tomorrow without leaving, I get that. I know that. I know how that works. Um, so I just wanted to throw that out there and see. Like our moderator is saying, it's not an easy thing to do. Um, is anyone else thinking along the same lines? Would anyone else do that? And with that said, I never gave the phone number out. I'm sorry. It's just I had a juicy list here of good stuff to talk about. 510-331-9112 if you would like to comment on any of those things that we brought up. And Todd is mentioning, used to manage all the Radio Shacks in the East Bay area. Amazon was huge, which was a huge piece of their demise, and I agree. We have insanely awesome mom and pop shops um, that deserve our support. Bob is mentioning, buying from the manufacturer is not much different than Amazon. You only cut out the middleman. Technology has changed what you can do for senior citizens who have issues beyond COVID. Amazon has been a lifesaver. I That's a point that I had not thought of. So, yeah, during the shelter in place, I could definitely see how Amazon could definitely have been uh, a game changer for people who weren't leaving. So thank you, Bob, for bringing up that perspective. I had not thought about that. So Yeah, point taken. Um, with that said, for me, I'm cutting the cord. I can't. I'm not going to do that anymore. And I actually spoke to a business owner today, and she totally agreed with that perspective and that sentiment. As a small business owner, she has made the choice. I don't think she cut the cord with Amazon just yet, but she made the choice and the decision to shop small. And even I think she had mentioned that she shops on Etsy, which is another website that is kind of it's craft people who create things and sell things. Um, maybe even eBay might be a better approach if you can find people, independent people who are selling things, but there's no guarantee that because there's likely companies on eBay that are selling as well, and eBay gets a cut out of all the sales. So, with that said, that's just the reality. That's just my sentiment with that. Doesn't mean that you have to do it as well, but I don't get warm vibes from Amazon. It seems like it's a gigantic creature that just seems to grow and grow and grow. Um, and just like Todd had mentioned, with his experience with Radio Shack, um, uh, the local businesses, the small businesses, the mom and pop shops, the independent merchants, the independent online merchants, um, you can't dispute their bottom line is diminishing. Not 100% because of Amazon, but then again, competition should make you better. But then again, competition shouldn't put you out of business. Um, and thank you, Bob, for bringing up that point. I really appreciate that because it's not, like I said, it's not something that it's not a point that had actually crossed my mind. So I definitely appreciate that perspective. If you have a thought, a comment, a complaint, a confession, anything on any of those topics that you would like to bring up and have us go over again, definitely you can call or text. Text is probably going to be easier. It's 510-331-9112. And going back to the Amazon thing, a really good friend of mine brought up the point that honestly, you really vote with your dollars. So for me, I'm not going to be voting for Amazon anymore. I'm going to vote for um, directly from manufacturers or local, or I'll seek out smaller merchants or smaller businesses. I probably may end up paying a couple more dollars for the items that I'm looking for. Um, but those dollars are kind of worth the peace of mind or to support other local businesses because Castro Valley News is a local small business. So that's where that kind of comes from. And I want to give a special shout out to Linda Kelly at Hate Street Voice. Um, Linda Kelly is someone who's awesome, who knows her neighborhood and knows her stuff. Um, Linda Kelly is the editor in chief, Grand Poobah, top dog of the Hate Street Voice, kind of a sister paper that we have, a sister magazine that we have, and a sister Facebook page that we have. And I hope you're doing well, Linda. So, hey, guys, with that said, I honestly don't have anything else on the list here. John says he has a different issue, might be a new subject next week. If you want to bring it up now, we've got a couple minutes to chew it over. If you want to bring it up, if not, we can do it next week. No problem. Um, I'm just sorry, guys. I'm just looking through the comments here, trying to keep up with everything. I don't want to ignore any of the comments here. You know what? I'm gonna stop right here. And I'm going to say hello and a tip of the cap to Mr. Todd Anglin. And he's probably going to send me an email tomorrow asking me, why'd you do that? But I want to stop and I want to give props to Todd Anglin because he's a local small business owner, but he's an awesome guy. He cares deeply about our community. He does a ton of stuff behind the scenes with the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club. Both of those organizations behind the scenes do tons of stuff to improve the quality of life in our town. And Todd volunteers numerous hours all the time to make good things happen in our community. So I want to thank Todd for all that you do in our community. You're an awesome guy, and I am honored to call you a friend. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to keep up here with what's going on. There you go. Okay, John. John is getting the kids ready for bed, and he'll text or call next week. Thank you, John. I appreciate all you do to make the rivers of this show flow much better. And also to Bob, thank you so much for all that you do as well. And we're going back to Amazon with Bob, and he says a lot of my Amazon purchases happen when I go to a store and can't find what I need. 2 clicks on my phone and it's there tomorrow. And that is why convenience is king. And Bob made a excellent point about senior citizens, anybody with mobility issues, people who can't get to the store. That definitely makes your life more easy and convenient to be able to just click ship and you get it. Mary is asking, fall festivals here. There will be no fall festival this year, from what I understand. So I'm sorry to hear about that. Fall festival coming up. That might be a different story. That's a good question for Todd. Todd, if you're still listening, will there be a fall festival this year? Or has the kibosh been put on that as well due to the shelter in place? So let me backtrack there. And fall festival this year, possible. Let's wait to see what Todd says, because I know he will have some information on that. But unfortunately, last year everything got canceled. The whole year got canceled, unfortunately. So Mary, answering your question in regards to fall festival, I will we'll get some information for you. And Bob is saying more people should call. Thank you, Bob. Todd, if you are still listening, impart upon us the future of the fall festival this year. Will there be one? Will there not? Calling out to Todd. With that said, I'll give you the phone number one more time. We've got a couple minutes left. There we go. So in response to Mary's question about the fall festival, Todd is saying everybody is still waiting for county direction. So there is a possibility that there will be a fall festival this year. And as Todd mentioned, a lot has changed in the past 3 months, and that is completely accurate. Bob is at the sports desk still. Houston 3, Oakland 1, bottom of the 4th. Bob will call us next week and tell us why he thinks they will leave. We should probably have that scheduled as a topic, and maybe I'll reach out to the Oakland A's and see if they'll comment. And probably the situation overall will probably change with that by next week in regards to the A's staying or leaving. In regard to events happening, there is Cruise Night coming up August 28th. We would love to see you out for Cruise Night. It's going to be a blast. We're excited to start it up again. Carol is mentioning too late to do all the necessary planning. And I'm assuming that's for Fall Festival. May, June, July. Yeah, that would be September. That's 4 months out. That might... I think Carol's right. I think that's cutting it tight. But John has cruise night on his calendar. Thank you. We are excited for cruise night, August 28th. We hope to see you there. With that said, I'll give you the phone number one more time if you guys would like to call in and text something or whatever. We've got just a few minutes left. 510-331-9112. Our moderator just posted something about cruise night. If you want a little bit more information, we are I'm super excited. Amazingly fun event. Classic cars, music on the boulevard. You get the opportunity to shop local and support local businesses. Yes. So, with that said, maybe we'll have the light parade, and I sincerely hope so. The light parade is a blast. The light parade is one of the funnest events in Castro Valley. It's wonderful for the kids. It's a family event. Everybody loves it. So, hey guys, with that said, we're like a couple minutes shy of an hour. That was a long short. We're a couple minutes shy of an hour. If nobody has a topic or wants to text anything in, Bob is mentioning, let's give Castro Valley sports some love. How about Juan Toscano Anderson, who is on the Warriors, who is a Castro Valley High alumni? That's awesome. He just got signed, I think, to 2 years with the Warriors, and he's on fire. Todd is mentioning, shout out to Chris Carr, LaSalle Mortgage, for spearheading all of the grad banners around CV again this year. I agree. I've spoken to Chris numerous times, and he's an awesome guy and really made that happen last year at the peak of the first year of the shelter in place, when there was absolutely nothing going on for any of the graduates. Thank you, Chris, for all that you have done in the community to make that happen. And also, I think that one of our local promotional folks, I think BB Duarte, had something to do with that as well. But yeah, Bob is saying TCA, great CV alum. That's awesome. It's awesome to see a local kid, one of our own, playing on the Warriors. It's awesome. It's so cool. Hey guys, with that said, that's the end of the hour. You guys have been awesome. Without you guys, there's no show. Thank you guys for your patience with my stammering and stuttering and self-indulgent comments. You guys are awesome. Like I said, definitely get dialed into more with things that are happening in the community. Check out the MAC, follow their website, see what the agendas are, and together we can make this community better by letting the county know what we would like and what we wouldn't like. And we will also bring you as much information as we can. So Bob is mentioning Jason Castro from the Angels and Brody Bazil. They are from Castro Valley as well. Cliff Burton is ours too. So anyways, guys, thank you guys for making our community awesome. You guys are great. We'll see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. We will do this again. As always, when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. Shop local.